Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here. I have the honor of having Blake Anthony Carter in the house. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, my brother. So what's going on with you, man? For a little bit, we're finally get you on the podcast. Tell your story. Start it where you want to, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man. Let's see my story. I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas, and have been around real estate for pretty much my entire life. My mom, she was a partner in a successful flipping and mobile home retail business. And basically during 2008, we ended up losing everything. And we were actually deemed homeless by the city of Austin for a period of time. But I got to grow up around real estate and be around it and learn kind of all the ins and outs, all the financing, construction, dealing with contractors, clients, all that. And was kind of scared to kind of get my career started in real estate for a long time. I got started in property management. That was kind of my first real job out of high school, and worked for apartments. Did that whole deal, worked my way up in that world, I guess, as much as you can. And the last position I had, I was the national leasing director for CWS apartment homes. And that sounds a lot fancier than it really is. They would just send me around and I would just solve all their issues. And I was basically their BITCH. I don't know if I can cuss on this or not, but anyways, I would just do whatever they asked me to, but I learned a lot doing that. And in that process, realized that I really just wanted to do something like that for myself. I've been working for myself for a little bit over a year now. Been investing in real estate, been working in real estate for a few years, but essentially I've done some investing deals. I've done about 4 flips and have a couple buy and hold properties as well. Currently building a short-term rental property in Rockport, Texas. And then my partner and I also started a company called Cribs, which is a full-service turnkey company for people that want to invest in short-term rentals. And that's what we specialize in. So we help people buy properties, analyze deals. We do all the construction and remodeling, all the furnishing and design, and we do management as well. So we keep it all in house. It's been fantastic for us, and we're incredibly blessed.
Mm-hmm. And when something like that happens to you, it's interesting to me that you're literally getting into the same business sector, same duties that you saw basically destroy your family. Do you think it was inevitable, or did you think that you needed the time to kind of deal with that? And then how do you go from, oh my God, we're riding on top of the world, to we have nothing? And,
Yeah, I think it was inevitable, man. Honestly, I kind of always had a passion for real estate, and it was the first thing that I really sorry about that. It was the first thing that I really understood really well. And I kind of avoided it for a long time, just basically out of fear, and realized that all my attention and all my interest was in that area. And so while it was scary because I had seen, my family go through that, I also knew that there's a lot of reasons behind that. There was a lot of really bad lending practices going on back then, as I'm sure you know. A lot of over leveraging, a lot of overinflated pricing. And so there was several things that led to that I actually could learn from. and have kind of implemented it into my own business to try to prevent any kind of issues, which I think a lot of people learned from 2008 and from that whole experience. And so real estate has always been an interest. It's always been a passion. And having grown up around it, it just kind of gave me an extra boost of knowledge. So while I was scared, I was completely prepared to, go after it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think I've watched you over the last couple of years kind of come out of your shell even more and step into your investing and your other things that you're doing. And a lot of the biggest guys I've ever met in real estate, started off in property management. It doesn't mean they're excited about that time, but they tell stories and stuff, and they're like, man, it really taught me how to deal with every different situation, different people. And do you kind of look back on that time and feel the same way?
Dude, 100%. Honestly, I recommend people all the time who are interested in getting into real estate to get a job in property management in some facet, because in my opinion, it's one of the best, if not the best, way to learn about real estate and how to deal with people in that regard. I learned how to deal with crazy people, crazy instances. I mean, I have quite a stomach for dealing with crazy crap. And as you know, in the short-term rental business, there's a lot of last minute craziness that goes on, or people show up and they have drugs at the house, or, whatever. And that doesn't really affect me as much as maybe someone who hadn't experienced that before. I've worked at properties from like, a duplex in the hood in Killeen to like the nicest high rise in downtown Austin. So having that experience, man, is like completely priceless, to have based on what I'm doing now.
It's interesting, as we build out something for a consulting client for the Airbnb, they want me, and then they'll get it. They want me to build out their systems. They want me to build out their team. They want me to show them the systems. They want me to train the VA and all that thing. And as I continue to build out this expectation list, like, I feel like at the end of it, I'm going to go, but I can't build out your emotions.
Right.
Like, I've done this for so long that like the level of emergency just does not exist to me.
Right.
Like of course there's like a heed to the intention in my attitude, but you're not really going to surprise me at this point. Like, right. I've seen it. I've seen it all. People are out of their minds. They're really nice. Yeah. There's really, and so like that is something that you can't recreate, no matter how much you pay me, no matter how much I fix you up. You're still going to have to deal with the client who can't find the Wi-Fi code that's sitting right in front of their face.
Yes, 100%. And so much of it is like building that stomach, building the callus, I guess, to dealing with the craziness, because investing in real estate is more emotional than in any other investment, just because it's so personal and it's so sensitive. You're dealing with people's money, you're dealing with people's time, and you have an actual physical asset that people can damage. And so there's always like weird instances that'll pop up, but it's nice to be able to have that experience and have already gone through like the craziest of crazy stuff, to where, you just kind of take it on the chin and keep moving forward.
So when you got started as an agent and, I feel like you've kind of found your niche through what is probably one of the more crowded real estate markets with, I'm making a joke here, but, 1 million agents in Austin and there's 1 million brokerages and all those things. How did you kind of find your journey, to kind of find your niche? Like, I think that's what a lot of, I worry about a lot of agents, they're just kind of like, hey, I think this is the cool thing to do. And then they get in, they don't realize how much fucking work it is. And then, there's 17 different agencies and it's a lot.
Well, dude, I'll kind of give you like the whole backstory of how we started our business and how I kind of found my place in the market. first of all, like if for anyone that wants to become an agent, it, like you said, it is so competitive. You have to niche yourself somehow. You have to find something that you specialize in, because you either specialize or you die. I mean, you have to find, either that market or that certain type of property that you're going to go after. But anyways, really cool deal. So we started our business basically. When I originally got my real estate license, I was working for a local property management company doing a lot of their leasing and business development stuff. So like anytime a new client would come in, I was the one that would kind of handle their onboarding and answer any questions, whatever. And this guy reached out to us and said, "Hey man, I have these 3 houses that I'm renting out by the room, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm losing money basically with how much time I'm having to spend." And, he had these houses and he was completely in over his head. And so I said, "Yeah, man, of course we'll manage that for you." Just because that's who I am, like we'll take it on. But I talked to the owner and presented that to her at the time, and she looked at me like I was crazy. And she's like, "We are not dealing with that. We are not going to take that on. That is a huge headache that I don't want to deal with." And so I had to go back to the guy and tell him, "Hey man, we're actually not going to manage your property." And about 6 weeks later, he ends up calling me and was like, "Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please just do this on the side for me?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll do that." Charged him way lower than, an actual management company would charge. It's just like, a little side hustle. He ended up referring me to another client that was doing a rent by room type of deal. And that same client was also purchasing a short-term rental in Round Rock. And he calls me and he's like, the client that was doing the short-term rental calls me and he says, "Hey, do you guys do short-term rental management?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do that." Just like throwing it out. And he was like, "All right, well, how much do you charge?" And so I have him on speaker and I'm Googling how much do Airbnb management companies charge. And it's at 10 to 25% like that. And so I just said 10% just because I wanted to get it. So I charged him 10%. And that was our very first short-term rental client on the management side. And basically from there, it's just grown. I was basically just managing these short-term rentals, like as a side hustle, doing what I could, and brought in Jeremy, my partner, and he kind of handles all the operations. But, Jeremy's very, very talented on the management operations side and the design side. And all my experience, I did a lot of, construction projects when I was in management. And so construction is like a big part of my background. And so we realized that we have the tools to really take someone through all the steps of the process for short-term rentals. So we, about 6 months ago, we decided to like really define ourselves as like a one-stop shop turnkey service for people that want to do short-term rentals in and around Austin. And as you know, like we're also looking at doing that same thing in other markets as well. So basically we built this whole company around, we'll help you through every single step of a short-term rental. And it's all been just completely referral based. I mean, I feel like we add so much value. I heard a saying one time that this said, I can't remember who it was, but they said, your income is directly correlated to the value that you bring to the market. And that's so true. And as an agent, as a property manager, as an investor, whatever you're doing, you have to provide some kind of value to the people that you're serving. And so for us, we're able to provide like a really high level of value for our clients, which is why I think we've been able to do so much business in such a short period of time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm frankly just sick of it, to be honest with you. Like, similar story to me. Hey, what do you charge? I don't fucking know. I'm just doing it myself. We started with an air mattress, then we, there is something to be said with this social media world and all this thing. Is like, dude, like there's no better business than referral business.
Yeah.
Like they're already, you're getting, a lot of my coaching clients come from referrals. Like it's amazing. They're already halfway sold. Like, and then, I study people like Marcus Lemonis and other people. And if I showed you my mind map, you'd see that it's really about being a problem solver. And you complete when you can stand them up, and they don't have to, like our philosophy in business is we never want you to have to go outside of our ecosystem to get it done.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, at the end of the day, you have to look at your business and you go, are we getting one transaction off of them? And if we're getting one transaction off of them, we're not doing it right. Right.
Right.
And then one of the things I said the other day that's really important is, when's the last time that you experienced your business? Yeah. I didn't say run your business. I didn't say inside your business. I said, when's the last time that you were a client and I asked you a simple question? Would you do business with you?
Right.
If you can't answer that question properly, then you don't have a business that is going to be successful.
Yeah. I one of my mentors told me one time that when you're running a business, you have to think about how people will speak about you when you're not around. And that's been a huge thing that we focus on, is providing such a high level of service that all people can do is rave about us when we're not around. I don't ever want to be spoken about in a negative way, or my company spoken about in a negative way. Like, our reputation is golden. And that's the only way that we're able to get all the referral business that we get, is providing such a high level of service that, we have basically raving fans, for our business.
I randomly met yesterday. I was talking to a lady in the RV park who manages 70 plus Airbnbs. And they don't have a website. They don't have any marketing. It's all referral based, only investor driven. And they love it. Right. And so, when you're talking about an Airbnb person, right, you host for clients and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What would you say are the biggest mistakes that you see? Because I know y'all handle designing and everything. What's the biggest mistakes that you see when it comes to Airbnbs at the moment right now?
I would say the biggest mistake I see is, you look at your comps, like you're through AirDNA, Price Labs, Rabu, like whatever you use to run your comps, and you look at your top performing comps. Let's say that your top performing comp does 100K revenue. And you think that just because your property is similar, that you'll be able to do the same. And then you see a lot of people that will just go and put, basic like Goodwill furniture in these places, and they'll take cell phone photos, and people will send me their listings all the time, and they'll ask me why, what's the issue? Like, why are we not getting as many bookings, or why is our ADR lower than it should be? And I think a big reason is with short-term rentals, everything matters. You get a ROI on everything. So like having nicer looking furniture, having a hot tub or whatever extra amenities, a game room or whatever, things like that, you have a direct ROI. Like there's really no way to monetize it, like to tell you exactly what your ROI is, but like you can't look at a house that's a 4-bed, 3-bath, done beautifully, and then just say, because I'm a 4-bed, 3-bath, I can just throw whatever furniture in there and call it a day and expect the same results. Like, you really have to put in like a certain amount of effort, and really focus on the design and the functionality of everything. I think we've spoken about that before, but a lot of designers also, when they set up short-term rentals, don't consider functionality. I walked a short-term rental for a friend recently, and he had a pull-out couch, and this it was like a sunroom, and it had a pull-out couch, and he had just done the design on everything, and he was really excited, and he did a good job, but in the sunroom it was so narrow that the pull-out couch you couldn't even pull it out to sleep anybody. And I was like, dude, like, this isn't even an option. You like, this is null. You know, you essentially wasted your money on this couch, or I'm calling it a pull-out couch, but a sleeper sofa. But things like that, like not completely considering the actual functionality of everything, and really putting your dollars where it actually matters.
100%. It's as I started doing the list today, it's like, man, this is a lot of things, you know, that you don't even think about. And you really need to stay, and you really need to walk the property. You really need to see it from a guest point of view. And,
Totally.
you know, I've noticed a lot of investors, like, they're not understanding how much it is to furnish and set up. Right.
Yeah.
And so they're almost so wiped out by it that they miss the little things. You know, they don't, like, have a friend stay in it, or stay in it yourself. And when you're not walking through and you're kind of spending some time, it changes the way that you look at stuff. What would you say is the place in the Airbnb market that nobody's paying attention to right now? What do you think that people are missing when it comes to either buying or running properties?
Man, good question. Good question. Things that are being missed, I would say providing a high touch experience for your guests. It's more than just furnishing a place, allowing them to sleep there. If you can really create an experience within your property, as the short-term rental market becomes more and more saturated, which it is, you're going to really allow yourself to stand out. I think people don't really consider the fact that it really is becoming more saturated now, and it's going to be harder to differentiate yourself. And one way that you differentiate yourself is provide a high level of service for the people that stay at your properties. And so, you know, tools like the automatic messaging and little notes, like anytime, you know, I know our properties, if we see someone that, you know, is having a wedding, or they're there for, you know, say like a bachelorette party or any sort of significant event, we'll usually send them some type of gift, you know, something small, just to enhance their experience. Because they're going to want to refer people to that property. They're going to want to refer people to your other properties. And more than anything, they're going to leave you an amazing review. And that's really where you differentiate yourself. And then also too, I think people don't realize the power of SEO on Airbnb enough. Like, really understanding how you can maximize your SEO on your listings. That's been a huge game changer for us. You know, sending out your property to all your friends and having your friends favorite it, and, you know, putting it in Facebook groups, having them favorite it, or even doing things like, let's say you can sleep 6 comfortably, and you have like 2 pull-out mattresses to say you can sleep 8 or whatever, so that way you show up in more searches and you get more clicks. It's little stuff like that. SEO, like, we have a property that was expected to do 160K revenue, and we're on track to do 200K revenue. And I think that's mostly because we did a lot of work on the SEO on that property, like intentionally. And so I would say, like, learn about the processes of Airbnb and VRBO and whatever booking sites you're using to learn how you can be at the top of that list.
Love that. It's something that nobody ever talks about. Okay. What is the biggest design mistakes that you see when it comes to Airbnbs? Because y'all's are always clean, they're fresh, they're nice.
Yeah.
I could vomit at the 80% I see in Central Texas of dark curtains and purple and shitty pictures, and where do you see the biggest mistakes?
Biggest mistakes, well, again, functionality. Really thinking about how a guest is going to use this, how a guest is going to experience this. But also, man, like you said, making the place look inviting, bright colors, lots of light into the home, considering how the property is going to look in photos. So we're doing a design on a property right now out in Kingsland. And when we were doing the design plan for our client, they were like, I want an all white kitchen, which is great. All white kitchens look fantastic. But one thing that we said that we should do is we should add some contrast in there. So what we're actually going to do is we'll have white cabinets, but we'll have a black island with a white countertop on top, and then a black countertop in the back to add some contrast. You know, maybe if you live there, that may not be your first design choice, but we really consider how is this going to show up in photos. Little things like that, like thinking about in your photos, there's like a red post or something, and that catches someone's eye, and it makes them want to click on your property. And even if they don't book your property, you get an extra click that helps your SEO. Really considering how you can also make it look unique in a tasteful way compared to your other properties. If you look at these lake properties, or like in Tennessee, you know, these cabins, it's like a copy and paste on a lot of these properties, you know, like classic, same stuff. And it's like, how can you tastefully differentiate yourself to make yourself stand out?
There's a property in Scottsdale that's like the pink bachelorette house, and everything's pink, and they have the Instagram mural and everything. And I heard from somebody the other day that I think they're booked out for 2 years. Like, you know, it's just like stuff like that. It's like,
dude, that's awesome.
I get it, right? Like, perfect example. I saw a property in Louisville. They didn't know what they were doing 5 years ago. They refurbished old Airstreams, and they have like a little pond with kayaks around it. It's on like 5 acres, 2 houses, 6 Airstreams. There's 1,600 5-star reviews. They're booked out for the next 6 months. Everything on the property. Lowest thing is $170 a night or something like that. And, you know, somebody said on Twitter the other day, if you don't understand that in the near future, institutional money is coming in this space, and when they come in this space and you're not unique, you don't have a signature, you're not different, you're going to get ran over like a Mack truck.
Bro, you gotta create a brand on your properties. Your properties have to have their own brand. You know, like you want to be able to have a website and fans just for that one specific property. You know, there's the main one that comes to my head is El Cosmico in Marfa. Like, dude, people want to stay there so bad. Like that's like the place to be. And you want to be like that in your market. Like, you want to be the it property. And there's ways to do it. You don't have to go get the big 8-bedroom mansion. You know, it can be like a 3-bed, 1-bath, but just like super well done, and like give it a name, give it a brand, make it memorable for people. So that way it's like after the first 1 or 2 years, you really have some real momentum, and you can start getting direct bookings, and you can start getting, like you said, bookings 2 years out, you know, and you can go crazy on your rates. That's how you really get the real return on investment on your properties.
I love it. So as you're building a business with your partner, and as you're building a business with, you know, just learning to build this business, and you're an agent, you know, what advice would you give to your former self 2 years ago?
Man, that's a good question. I would say just do the work. Like, I think when I first started, I didn't know where I was going to fit. I didn't know what I was 100% going to do. I just knew all I knew is that I was going to go after real estate. Like, real estate was just something I was going to start moving toward. I was going to start networking in real estate. I was going to start walking properties, doing whatever I had to do to be in real estate. And you put a lot of pressure on yourself whenever you're not where you want to be, or you're not headed to where you want to be. And you start doubting on yourself and you start doubting in the process. But in reality, you really just have to like trust in the process. Just do the work. Just show up every single day, do the coffee meetings, do the calls, do the podcasts, read the books, and start making the moves. And man, like, I don't want to say it'll just show up, but like, it'll just show up. Well, I don't know how it is, but like, once you start putting yourself in that realm of possibility and you start surrounding yourself with other people who are doing what you want to do. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. Then, man, like the possibilities are completely limitless. You just have to show up every day, have to do the work, have to do the things. And they'll happen.
100%. And, I'd be remiss if you didn't share while we're getting out of here, your charity and kind of your mission and your big something near and dear to your heart. So
yeah,
kind of tell us about that a little bit.
So, as I mentioned, there was a period in time where my family, or really my mom and I, we were deemed homeless due to not having stable housing or stable income. And, luckily my mom's an amazing person and we were able to get out of that situation. We spent about 2 years being deemed homeless by the city of Austin. After that, you can't help but have a ton of empathy for people who have been in a similar situation. And basically how my organization, it's called Serve Inspire. It's a nonprofit organization established in Austin. And it started basically from a Thanksgiving tradition where my mom and I, we would make this big Thanksgiving meal. And because we don't like Thanksgiving food, we would literally just go and pass it out to the homeless like a lot of people do on Thanksgiving. And we did that for, 1 or 2 years. And eventually we would invite friends. We would invite other family members to join us. And after a few years, we had like 10 people with us, 15 people with us. And we would like caravan downtown and we would start passing out food and supplies and whatever to the homeless on Thanksgiving. And it just became a tradition. And then when I graduated high school, I told my mom, like, we should really make this a real thing. We should really start doing this more often and try to make a bigger impact. And so we started holding events 2 to 3 times a year where we would feed the homeless, but also provide supplies. And we started doing care packages. So all the necessities, deodorant, toothpaste, clothing, underwear, socks, sunscreen, chapstick, like all these different items to help them survive. And then about 2.5, 3 years ago now, we got our actual 501c3. So we had been running it as just like a DBA organization, like kind of just a random organization. But we decided to like really buckle down. And then we actually got our 501c3 nonprofit status, formed a board. We have a fantastic board. And we're now working into doing even more impactful things, because really for us, it's about how can we incentivize people to make their lives better. And so now we are working towards providing free mental health services and life skills training for people that are homeless and unsheltered.
Amazing. I love it. And I see you out there, and I know it's something that's super near and dear to your heart. And I really hope that when people are walking down the street, that they don't put their context on other people, because you have no idea, what's happened. If his business partner stole all his money, he's got a drug addiction, somebody screwed him over, you don't know. And so, remember to carry a servant's heart and always reach out and lift somebody up out there. And I know that's one of the reasons you do your organization. Is such, it's really where we need to get back to more often and stop putting labels and context on people and just serve. So I really love that. So if people want to find out more about the companies, what you're doing, follow you around, how will they do that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, add me on social media. Blake.anthony.carter is my Instagram. That's the best way to get in touch with me. And my website for our real estate company is cribsconsulting.com. And then servinspire.org. Servinspire is my nonprofit. Servinspire.org. You can learn all about my nonprofit organization.
Love it. Guys, if you like this episode, send it out to a friend, share it with somebody who gets some value, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.